Hello friends, welcome to this vocabulary learning session conducted by PROMAC. We will learn some words in a logical manner. Today we will discuss some words starting with letter A. So we will begin with a word, a very important word, adage. Adage is a word which in day-to-day life we somewhat call as a proverb or a wise saying. In our life, whenever we are faced with some situations, wise people, elderly people or our parents, they tell us some things which convey their wisdom and their knowledge which they have accumulated over many years. You are facing some difficulties in life. You are very depressed. You are crying. Then your mother or father or an elderly person will come and say, okay my dear, don't worry. Always remember, behind every cloud there is a silver lining. After the darkness, sun will come up. Or you are doing some activity. You are in a hurry to finish that activity. Then your elders will come and say, look before you leap. Slow and steady wins the race. That means don't do anything in haste. Do it in a systematic and slow manner. When they say, behind every cloud there is a silver lining, that means everybody faces difficulties, but behind every difficulty also there is another positive outcome that will come up. So these kind of sayings, a very wise saying which conveys wisdom gained from generations of previous experience is called an adage. So generally in day-to-day life we call it as a proverb. As a synonym of adage, which is a wise saying, we can also take many other synonyms. Aphorism, apothegm, epigram, maxim, saw, etc. So adage, aphorism, apothegm, epigram, maxim, saw. All these words mean a proverb, any wise, memorable, interesting, knowledgeable saying or a knowledgeable phrase which is containing wisdom that is developed and gained from generations of previous experience and which contains a universal truth. So it is always something that contains a universal truth. We also read some stories where with the help of a story they convey a wisdom. So a story where they convey a wisdom with the help of a story is called a parable or fable. Many of you might have heard of something called Aesop's fables. So what is a fable? A fable is generally a story from which a moral or a wisdom is conveyed. Parable is also same. I will explain an example of a parable or a fable. You all might have heard of a story of a rabbit and a tortoise having a running race. So rabbit and tortoise have a race. They have a contest saying that who will reach the target first. Rabbit starts very fast, it runs very fast. When it went midway, it looked back and saw that tortoise is nowhere nearby. Then rabbit became arrogant or overconfident, thinking that tortoise anyway cannot reach me, so it slept under a tree. Tortoise started slowly, ran slowly, but reached the target first. So what do you understand from this story? Slow and steady wins the race. Don't do anything in a hurry. So do something in a systematic way, progress in a systematic way. So here I gave you a story with the example of a rabbit and a tortoise, and from this I have conveyed a wise message. So this is called a parable. This is called a fable. So we have learned a word adage. From adage we have learned epigram, aphorism, apothegm, maxim, saw, etc. All these are a proverb or a wise saying. A story that conveys a proverb or a wise saying is called a parable or fable. Next word we will discuss, starting with letter A, is adamant. Adamant is a word that's used to describe a person's attitude or a person's nature. There are some people who are very fixed in their opinions, who are very fixed in their viewpoint. They are very, very, very rigid. They are very unchanging. They are very inflexible. So this kind of attitude is called adamant attitude. Adamant is a person who is very, very rigid, a person who is very, very inflexible, a person who refuses to change. A person who refuses to change. Is this a positive word or a negative word? In life, words take a positive or negative meaning depending on the way we use it. So I am a person. I believe in something, and any number of people come and tell me or counsel me not to do that, I will still do it. Some people call me very focused, very principled, and very, very, very true believer in his own abilities. Some other people may say, okay, this guy is very impractical. This guy is an idiot. So many of us are advising him and he is not heeding or listening to my advice. So some people call me as a very principled person. Some other people may call me as an idiotic or a stupid person who refuses to understand others' point of view. So adamant, depending on the way you use it, you can use it to tell somebody who believes in himself or his ideology so much that he will stick to it. Somebody may call me a person who is foolish, that I am listening to the wisdom or advice provided by other people. So adamant, in the meaning of adamant, or a person who is very rigid or inflexible in his opinions, there are some words which can be considered synonyms. Intransigent, stubborn. So intransigent or stubborn is also a person who is very rigid, very inflexible in his opinions. We will develop some words coming from this word called intransigent. The word intransigent comes from a root word called transition. Transition is change. Transition is change. In is a negative prefix. Transition means change. So intransigent is a person who refuses to change, a person who does not like to change, a person who is very fixed in his opinions. Once we understood the root word called transition or trans, which means change, from this root word called trans, which is change, we know quite a lot of words: transport, transplant, transmit, transfer, transit, translate. I don't think you need explanation of these words, as these are all very regularly used in day-to-day life. Transport, moving an item from one place to another place. Transplant, removing a plant from one place, planting it at another place. Transmit, sending a signal from one place to another place. Transit, I am in transit. Hey, where are you? I am in transit. Transit is in the process of moving. Translate, changing something from one language to another language. So trans is change, from this word called trans, which is change. We have intransigent, a person who is very rigid, inflexible, person who refuses to change. From the same root word called trans, which is change, we can take some words like transient or transitory. Transient or transitory is something that is going through a process of change. Something that is going through a process of change. When anything is going through a process of change, it will be very short-lived. It will be very short-lived. So we can say the government is going through a transitional phase. It is very transient. Everything is very transient. Our society is going through a transitional phase. So everything is transient. When society is changing from one type of structure to another type of structure, so the practices which we follow become very short term. Nothing stays for a long time. So transient or transitory is anything going through change, so thus temporary. Human beings, the age between 15 to 20. Normally human beings, there is not much change below the age of 15. There is not much change in your body after the age of 20. But this age of 15 to 20, there are a lot of changes that occur in a person. Your body structure changes. You will be getting facial hair. Your voice becomes coarser and rougher. Your body is developing. So if I see you at the age of 15 and I see you at the age of 17, probably I cannot recognize you, because there is tremendous amount of significant change in your body. So that's a transitional phase. You are becoming, from a child, you are becoming an adult. So from the child to adult phase, every day changes occur in your body. So nothing is permanent. But after the age of 25, hardly any changes occur in your body. So more or less it is similar. Below the age of 15, very few changes occur, so similar. But that 15 to 20 age is called a transitional period from child to adult. So that's everything that occurs in us is very transient. So we have learned a word called adamant. Adamant I have given as inflexible in your opinions, views, and from adamant we have discussed a word called intransigent. Another word starting with letter A is addendum. Addendum can be simply understood anything added in the end. Anything that is added in the end. You are reading a book. When you are reading a book, at the end of the book, there is an attachment about some of the important points in the book, or maybe some of the errors in the book, or any additional matter that is related to what is discussed in the main book. So addendum is, I have a book or I have a report. You are preparing a report. You are preparing a project report. So in that project report, you have provided some conclusions. At the end of the report, you attach an additional document of 3, 4, 5 pages, which provides additional data to the points that are discussed in the report or the book. So that's called an addendum. So addendum is anything added in the end. So any additional document that is attached. So addendum is any additional documents or information that is attached. Additional documents or information that is attached. In a similar meaning, we can also take one more word called annexure. So annexure is also something that is added, something that is connected. So annexure 1, annexure 2, like that. How this word annexure comes? The word annexure comes from a root word called nexus. A root word called nexus. What is nexus? Nexus is, we all know a very commonly used word, connection. Connection comes from nexus. What's connection? Link. Link or a relationship. Nex is to connect or to link. Nexus. The police arrested a criminal. The police arrested a criminal for committing a crime. Then during the investigation, the police discovered that there is a nexus between this criminal and a very big businessman. So there is a nexus between this criminal and a big businessman. There is a nexus. Nexus is any connection or relationship or any attachment. So nexus is a link. From nexus we have connection, which is any additional adding up of things or to have a relationship. So from this annexure, annexure is anything that is linked to the main part. Annexure. You have a report, you have annexure 1, annexure 2, like that. So we discussed a word called addendum. The next word we can take is Addle. Starting with letter A, we have a word called Addle. Addle can be taken as a verb, or Addle can also be taken as an adjective. Addle, with my explanation, rather than clarifying the concepts, I have addled your brain. With my behavior, I have addled all my friends. I am addled. With all this information, my mind is getting addled. So addle is to confuse. Addle is to confuse. To make something unclear. Addle is to confuse or to make something unclear. Make something very confusing is called addle. In a synonymous meaning of confuse or to make something confusing, we can take various words as synonyms. Muddle, fuddle, befuddle, obfuscate, muddle, fuddle, befuddle, obfuscate, bewilder. All these words mean to confuse, to confuse. His explanation, rather than making this concept clear, it has befuddled me. His behavior is very obfuscating. It is very bewildering incident. So muddle, befuddle, fuddle, obfuscate, bewilder can be taken as synonyms of addle in the meaning of anything that is confusing. We could also learn one more word, confound. I am confounded by this. Confound is also to confuse. Very confusing or to confuse something. What's the opposite of confuse? Opposite of confuse is to make something clear. To make something clear. So, in the meaning of to make something clear, when we talk about a person's explanation, when we talk about a person's speech, a person's viewpoint is very, very clear, then we say your explanation is very, very lucid. So, lucid is clear. Now, why we get confused? Why we get clarified? Something is clear because the person who is explaining whatever he wants to explain with clear speech, and his thought process is also very, very clear. So, when we say somebody's speech or somebody's viewpoint is very clear, or he expressed what he wanted to say in a very clear and understandable and non-confusing way, we can use a word called cogent. I am very, very, very cogent in my communication. People come and ask me how to improve communication skills. Communication skills are a function of your knowledge. If you know what you know clearly, without any effort, it will come out clearly in your speech. If your thought process is clear, if your speech is clear, then we can say you are very cogent in your communication. So, cogent is clear, logical and understandable. Cogent is clear, logical and understandable in speech, non-confusing in speech. So, we have discussed a word called Addle, and from Addle we have discussed some more words. Next word we will take up is adept. Adept we have already discussed in a previous lecture. Adept opposite is inept. Adept is very, very, very skillful or good at doing something. I am adept at this work. I am adept means very, very skillful. Opposite of adept is inept. Inept is very, very clumsy. Very, very clumsy, not skillful, not good at doing something is inept. Adept, inept. In the same meaning as adept and inept, we have discussed a word called dexterous. So, dexterous is also very, very skillful. One more word we can take in the meaning of very skillful, very good at doing something. There is a word called adroit. Adroit is also very skillful in doing something. I am adroit at this work. I am dexterous at this work. I am adept at this work. Opposite of adroit is maladroit. Maladroit is a person who is lacking skill or a person who is not skillful in doing something is called maladroit. He is an adept person. He is adept at doing so and so. He is adroit at doing this work. So, that's the way you take. Next word we will learn is adjunct. The word adjunct comes from root word junct. What is a junction? A junction is a place where different roads or different things come and connect. Different things come and add. In English grammar, you all learn a word called conjunction. What is conjunction? A is very intelligent. Thus, he got good grades. A is very intelligent, thus he got good grades. There are two sentences. The two sentences are connected by a word called thus. So, this word called thus, which is here connecting two sentences, is a conjunction. A is very intelligent. Even then, he failed in the exam. So, A is very intelligent, even then he failed. So, this word even then is connecting two sentences. So, a word or a phrase that is connecting two things is called a conjunction. Junction. Junction is place where things get connected. Conjunction is something that is connecting two things. So, adjunct. What is adjunct? Adjunct is anything that is connecting. This is used to describe certain positions. You are in a school, you are in a college, you are in a university. In your school, in your college or in your university, there are some faculty members, teachers or professors. Some of these teachers, professors or faculty members are full-time faculty of that school or university, where every day they come to the college or school and they take classes. But I am sure your college or university also has certain guest faculty. What are these guest faculty? They are working in some organization, maybe a company or maybe a firm, but once a week or twice a month, they come to your school or come to your university and take some classes. They are not full-time faculty of your school or your university, but they are adjunct faculty. What is adjunct faculty? They are attached to your school. They are added to your school. They belong to some other organization, but they are attached. So when we say adjunct, adjunct is anything that is attached, anything that is connected to something is what is called adjunct. Mr. A is an adjunct faculty of our school and he teaches economics. Mr. B is an adjunct faculty of our university and he teaches psychology. So, adjunct is anybody who is attached or connected. Another word we will take starting with letter A is adjure. The word adjure can be taken as a synonym of some more words: beseech, adjure, beseech, implore, entreat, etc. So, adjure, beseech, implore, entreat. All these words are used in the meaning of to request sincerely, request or to plead or appeal sincerely and seriously. My mother implored me to think seriously about my future and work hard towards fulfilling my goals. My teacher entreated me to take up this project and perform well so that I can get admitted into a good college. Your teacher doesn't entreat you. Entreat in the sense your teacher requests, but out of love, affection and concern for you. The citizens beseeched the president to reduce the tax rates. The president adjured the citizens and young people to work in the army and improve the economy and the protection and security of the country. So you adjure somebody, you implore somebody, you beseech somebody, you request a person, or you appeal to a person, or you make a sincere request or a sincere appeal to somebody to do something. So friends, we have learned some words In the next session, we will learn some more words in a very intelligent and connected and grouped manner. Please let us know your feedback or any suggestions by writing to us at promaccoaching@gmail.com, or kindly also visit us at our website www.promacprep.com. So please visit us at our website promacprep.com. Keep in touch. Let us meet in the next session. Thank you.